Hey everyone, Michael Crump back here again, and today is going to be part 2 of the Crump Challenge. So if you're not familiar, the Crump Challenge is $30. I need to get 3 consoles, and all 3 of them need to be able to play backups by the end of it. If I have to buy any sorts of parts to make them work, then automatically it's going to be a failure. So what you just saw was the Xbox from the previous video, and I decided to start with that one first. It was trying to open the disk tray and it was unable to do so. What I did was I decided to go ahead and to break this thing apart and to see what was going on. Let's go take a look at that. Okay, so here's the Xbox. Let's just go ahead and flip that thing over and let's see what we are working with here. So as usual, I've went ahead and I've removed the 6 Torx screws from the bottom of the console, and let's just flip this thing over and let's pop open the top and see what we have here today. I'm not sure if it is going to be a complete mess with dust and maybe roaches, but hopefully it's not. And let's see what we've got here. Okay. It looks like it's actually in pretty good condition. Pulling back this IDE cable here, it looks fairly clean. And let's take off these 2 here, which will allow us to remove the DVD drive. Coming into this, I know there's something that's going on with the DVD drive because it won't eject disk. Let's go ahead and remove the IDE cables as well as the power cables from both the DVD drive and the hard disk drive. And we'll lift out the hard disk drive. And now we'll take out the DVD drive. Okay, so this looks like a 1.0 Xbox. We should go ahead and knock out the clock capacitor here. So if you haven't seen from the previous videos that I've had, there is a clock capacitor. Typically these things leak, so you want to take them out. I usually take them out of every Xbox at least that I can find that I'm starting to do some work in. So there it is listed. And again, my preferred way to remove the clock capacitor is with needle nose pliers. So I'm going to pull those out here. Okay, and I think we've just about got it. Okay, so there is the capacitor. You can replace these if you would like to, but for the most part, I don't think there's much of a need to do that. So what I am going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get some rubbing alcohol and I'm going to clean up this area just a little bit. This one really hasn't started leaking just yet, but it does feel like this Xbox at least probably hasn't been played as often, as at least on the inside it looks pretty clean. Now remember, this console was opened up, so maybe somebody's already cleaned it before I got to it. Okay, we'll set this aside and we will now take a look at the DVD drive. This is a Thompson DVD drive. These are known to break at some point or to not read. So there's a couple of things I want to look for here as we are investigating what the cause of this problem is. I'm going to go ahead and knock out these 2 screws right here on the back. And I'm just going to use a regular screwdriver here. That's all that's needed. I'm using a 3.0, and this is going to be for these top 2 screws on the top of the DVD device. One down, and now another one. You can easily kind of pry up the top part of this, and then you'll have full access to your drive. At first glance, I started looking to see if it had anything here to deal with just the drive mechanism. Everything seemed to be sliding properly. And of course I had to do the spinning test here. Okay, so let's take off the bottom cover here. And that is going to give us access to the mechanism that will allow the DVD drive to open or close. Okay, so we just flipped it over. Now we need to take the white piece and move it from the left back over to the right, and that will open up the disk tray. And there we go. Sometimes you do have to force it a little bit. And there is the disk tray. I am paying close attention down at the bottom here to make sure that these gears are spinning, and more importantly, that the rubber band that is used here in the drive is not broken. Okay, so there is these two little tabs that you can push down. And if you push those tabs down, then you can take the actual DVD tray completely out. Let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so great. So now we've got it. What we can do is take a look at the tray itself and see if there's maybe anything caught or stuck in there. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's look at removing at least this top wheel here and determine if maybe there is something wrong with that. Okay, so I took a peek here at this wheel and I did not see anything out of the ordinary. Obviously, it's good to go ahead and put some grease back in there and also just make sure that this rubber band right here is still in pretty good condition. Everything is spinning like it properly should. So I didn't really do very much here because I did not find any sort of problems. Okay, so while this is all out, you might as well go ahead and get some rubbing alcohol and do a little bit of cleaning again. This time we're just going to clean the lens itself and some of the surrounding parts. Okay, we're going to put the wheel back in here. You will see that there is this little area located right here that you can push down to open and to remove that little wheel or to put it back. I continue to clean a little bit here. I learned that you need to move this little white piece all the way over to the left-hand side and then be very careful and to make sure that it lines up as you're sliding the tray back in there. So just kind of hold it down and make sure that it gets back on the tracks properly. And it should slide right on back in. And you'll also see those little gears rotating at the bottom if you're doing it successfully. At this point, I was just thinking to myself, well, maybe that it somehow was out of alignment. Maybe somebody was in here before and they kind of messed with it. So I felt pretty confident that we had at least fixed that problem. So what did I do? Decided to go ahead and at least put the drive back together and the machine back together to at least to a point to where we could just go ahead and we could try this and see if it works or not. Okay, a couple screws back in and these two screws on the back. And don't forget this little part here. And let's hook everything back up again. Okay, over on our workstation, I hit the button and it does open up. We're going with a little bit of NFL fever again there. So I'm happy it's opening. And is it going to read the disc? Yes or no? No, of course not, right? It can't just work. All right, let's see what we have now. Let's go ahead and we'll open back up the drive again. Again, I'm just going to eject the disc tray because we're going to need to get all the way down in there to where the laser is at. Now, it's fairly easy to remove these lasers. The only real thing that you're going to need to do here is you're going to need to take out this screw, and then there is another screw at the very top. Once you take both of those screws out, so we've got one now. Okay, we'll take out this other screw that's at the top here. And so once that's done, you're going to want to lift up on the laser a little bit and at least pull this little bar out here. And now that that's out of the way, the only other thing that's keeping it attached is just this little wire. You can just simply pull back and it should release. All right, let's go ahead and set that aside and let's look very specifically at the laser. Okay, so taking a look real quick down here at this little purple screw, this is very similar to other consoles like PlayStation 2, etc. You can come in here and you can make a small incremental adjustments to this counterclockwise in order to provide more strength to the laser. So what I am going to do here is I'm going to first off test this with a multimeter, 5.03. So here we could actually make the adjustments to that little purple screw and then it should go up or down depending on which way we turn it. And let's go ahead and let's make that adjustment now. So I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to turn this just a little bit. And what is very helpful is if you can keep the multimeter already on the 2 pins below it in order to see where it's at as you turn it. I don't have a benchmark for what that should be at the moment because I usually would take maybe an existing one out and then just see what reading that gives me, a known working one, and then compare that against these over here that's not working. So testing it again, I'm now at 4.25, and I think I'm going to make maybe one more adjustment to this, and then we're going to go try it. All right, so 3.37. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's put this all back together and let's see what kind of results that we got back out of the console. Okay, I got the same exact results. Couldn't read the disc. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Now, according to the rule, I said that it has to be $30 total for 3 different consoles. I've spent 10 on this one so far. While I think I could probably repair this with a cheap lens, maybe on eBay, I think I could get those for about $10 or $15. Unfortunately, I don't have one of those just like lying around or anything like that. I decided that since I bought the whole console for $10, that 10 to 15 would be too much and then I would fail. So I decided that what I would do here is I would actually soft mod the system, not using the hot swappable method, but taking out one of my DVD drives from an existing working machine, actually the one that we covered when we did our original soft mod, and placing it into this $10 Xbox console. Because the DVD drives, they are not locked in the original Xbox to the consoles, so you can swap them in and out. You should have 0 problems. Okay, so I had to mark the good DVD drive with the word good, mainly because I'm going to be taking this DVD drive out of our working console and putting this inside of the broken DVD drive. Okay, so this is the one that has the broken DVD drive. I'm going to simply undo all the cables here and let's take that drive out and let's go ahead and swap it with the good DVD drive. Okay, there it is. This is the good drive. Again, just able to pull those parts completely out of the other machine and just place them right into the new box. Go ahead and connect up all of your cables, your power, etc. And let's just go see if this works or not. I did the same exact thing that I did before, which was I used my Sony PSP because its memory card is compatible in order to copy the game saves over. So I'm going to be using Splinter Cell in just a minute because I just really want to get this thing soft modded. Okay, so let's take our disc now. This is our Splinter Cell disc, and let's drop this into our console here. This will at least get us to the point to where we can soft mod the system. Obviously, we could have done another hot swap system if we had wanted to, but I believe that this is just so much easier. Okay, so we hear the disc and it sounds like it's spinning. And then over here, we can see the Xbox logo and Splinter Cell is loading up properly. We'll go in, we'll take our Linux profile, and that will begin the soft mod that we are trying to perform here. Okay, so the Xbox is now down. I was able to acquire the Xbox for the $10. It is one of the 3 companies by Microsoft. And the third part here is that I did not need to spend any additional money and was able to get it to run backups. So I'm going to consider the Xbox part of the challenge a complete success. Okay, so we'll let this soft mod continue running until this system is completely able to run backups. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take this system and we're going to take the working hard drive that I have currently in it and put it back into my drive that has the big 1 terabyte hard disk drive. Okay, so just to finish up this console here, we'll go ahead and we'll remove the hard disk drive as well as the DVD drive, and we will replace this with the DVD drive that doesn't work. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that there is ways that you can turn off the DVD functionality, especially since the DVD is broken. I don't necessarily like doing that, so I'm just going to keep that existing DVD drive that doesn't work back in this Xbox, because there may be something along the way. Maybe I get like a laser from another machine that I could potentially put back in this. Okay, so we'll take out the good one here and we're just going to simply replace it back with the one that it had. Okay, so we'll just mark this one up with a bad drive, and then later on I'll be laughing about the crappy Crayola marker that I used here. And we will call this again a success. So thank you so very much for watching. If you haven't checked out part 1, go check it out. Also, the part 3 in this series will be the PlayStation 2. I haven't opened one in a while, so I'm probably a little rusty, but we'll do it together. Thanks so much again, and please like, subscribe, leave a comment down below. I would absolutely love to hear from each and every one of you. Until next time, Michael out.